Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you.
And we've got a great Christmas weekend here. Going to talk about all kinds of fun Christmas things throughout the program. But first, we're going to talk right now about Heidi's favorite Christmas memory. What would you say is your favorite Christmas memory?
Oh, my.
You want to think about that for a while?
So many. My favorite Christmas memories are all of the white elephant gift exchanges with my family.
We'll talk about that later in the program.
I absolutely love my Christmas caroling memories with my family.
Oh, that was a lot of fun.
I absolutely love thinking of Christmas Eve at my grandma and grandpa's house. That was always my whole life. My very, very favorite day of the whole year.
Awesome.
My grandparents were amazing.
They were. We're going to chat about that, and we're going to talk about a lot of Christmas memories later in the program. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show Weekend Edition. Merry Christmas.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. Let's do the whole darn weekend. Saturday is December the 24th, also known as Christmas Eve. It is Eggnog Day, and it is Hanukkah. It's the beginning of Hanukkah. Sunday is December the 25th. It is, am I pronouncing this correctly? Christmas? Am I saying that right?
Yes.
I think so, yeah. It's also Christmas Pudding Day, and it's Fabet Day, also known as Noel Day. So Alphabet Day. I think that's ridiculous.
Whatever. That's
It's like
dumb.
I know, it's like a dad joke holiday.
Yeah.
I don't get it. But anyway, all of those things going on this weekend. And for those of you who are celebrating, if your celebration includes alcohol, be sure to have a designated driver. We want to make sure you get home safe. So thanks for joining us. We've got more fun stuff coming up on a Christmas weekend edition of the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This is my favorite time of year, the lights, the fun parties, and the family get-togethers. Many of us have boxes of home videos capturing these memories, but sadly, these memories are fading away because the videotape was not the best format. My friend CJ has a business called Tape It Up Reproductions. They transfer your precious memories to a digital format with the option to enhance the audio and the video to make them look and sound better than ever. His website is tapingitup.com, or you can call or text 412-766-1679.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Bad news, your Christmas lights may be a fire hazard. Well, shouldn't we have talked about this a month ago? Not a big deal?
Not my lights.
A random check by the European Safety Commission revealed 30% of Christmas tree lighting sets were so poorly constructed they could give out an electric shock or cause a fire. Yeah, 30%.
That's in Europe. American lights, they're awesome.
Okay, well, many of the lights failed several of 20 different regulations on wiring, insulation, plugs, and other issues. Half of the lights tested were made in China. A small portion of home fires are caused by faulty wiring and other electrical problems, but 1/10 of those fires happen in the run-up to Christmas.
Have you seen the plugins in Europe?
Oh, they're a lot different than they are here.
Yeah.
So you're saying that could be part of it?
Well, yeah. I mean, their electrical system is whack all across the board. We were in...
Is that a technical term?
We were in England. My mom, at the time, she would blow dry her hair and turn it off, and blow dry her hair and turn it off, and blow dry her hair and turn it off. And we were in England with one of those adapters.
Yeah.
She set off the smoke alarms in our bed and breakfast with her hair dryer with one of those stupid adapters. Yeah, like a spark came out of the outlet and all the we're like, oh my gosh.
So maybe it has nothing to do with the lights and everything.
I think it's just their electrical system. It's messed up. Yeah.
All right. Hey, for those of you who are visiting from Europe, sorry that we think your system is whack, I believe is the official term. That's the official term. But hey, Merry Christmas to you anyway. Thanks for listening. And this deal here about the old 30% of the Christmas tree lights not being good and, out to kill you and burn your house down and whatnot. You know it's true. Guess why? Because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain. And this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. This one happens to be a 26-year-old woman who pulled into a McDonald's drive-thru. And it says here, let me see here. Police said 26-year-old with squad car lights flashing and sirens blaring behind her. Okay, because I was trying to figure out what that meant, that she pulled in with squad car lights flashing. So they were following her.
Okay.
And she pulled into a McDonald's drive-thru.
Really? She had cops following her? She decided to grab herself something to eat?
Apparently. She got a couple of fries down before she was arrested on suspicion of drunk driving. So they actually let her order and pay? What? The woman said she saw the cruiser at the McDonald's. She heard the officer honking his horn, figured she was getting pulled over because her driver's license was revoked. She told the police, St. Paul Pioneer Press, in a jail interview, "I thought they were fixing to mess with me, and I was fixing to get something to eat." So there you go.
Wow.
She was fixing to get arrested. 26-year-old, arrested in a drive-thru. At least she got a couple of fries.
Wow.
All right. Merry Christmas to you. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. This is actually kind of sad. The incident took place at a resort's Christmas parade, but instead of jolly old Saint Nick, youngsters saw Santa Claus get in a fist fight with a teenager at a nearby marketplace. Police had to cuff and stuff both men right in front of a bunch of little kids. So the teenager was arrested and so was the Santa Claus. But the good news is the kids who were in tears were fine because the officer said, "Hey, that's not Santa. That's a bad guy dressed like Santa. He was pretending to be Santa, and he's going to get extra charges for that." So the little kids were like, "Oh, okay."
Nice,
so that wasn't really? No, Santa wouldn't do that. This was a bad guy that was pretending to be Santa. And he said, the real Santa, he's on his sleigh, and he'll be in that parade. So you go over there and have fun.
Oh,
so
that was nice.
We caught an imposter who was being bad. So quick thinking officers there. That's really cool they did that. Coming up, we have your scoop of the day on this Christmas weekend edition of the John and Heidi Show.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. Might want to start out with a ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas weekend to you. Are you having a good Christmas weekend so far?
Oh, of course.
All right,
yeah.
Good. Take a listen to this. There's a town in Pennsylvania called Bethlehem. So it's sadly not surprising that this time of year we have to report a story from there that's not necessarily positive news. Because there's going to be bad things that happen everywhere. But police are looking for a woman who stole baby Jesus from Bethlehem.
What?
We're talking about the baby Jesus from a nativity scene in Bethlehem. Surveillance cameras captured this happen at the Payroll Plaza early Sunday. So on a Sunday, she went and stole a baby Jesus. I don't know. Good news, though, the statue of the baby was recovered along with an incoherent note in the neighboring town of Bethlehem Township. So she stole him from Bethlehem and took him to Bethlehem Township. Took Jesus for a ride, apparently.
There you go.
Hey, turns out those Christmas reindeer stories we've been told since we were kids are probably not accurate. According to the Alaska Department of Fish and Game, both male and female reindeers grow antlers in the summer. Each year, male reindeers drop their antlers at the beginning of winter, usually late November to mid-December. Female reindeer retain their antlers till after they give birth in the spring. So all of those reindeer pulling the sleigh, they're girl reindeer, not boy reindeer, Heidi. So how does that change the song? Instead of on Dasher and... Wait a minute, Prancer.
They're all boy names.
Prancer's not a boy name.
That's a boy name. I always assumed all the reindeer were boys.
But they're girls. Dasher, it's a girl. Prancer, Vixen, all girls.
I always assumed they were boys.
Well, that's what we all assumed. But it turns out because the Alaskan Department of Fish and Game told us that they're not. So it turns out we were wrong. You ready to move on to our next story?
Donder is not a girl name.
Oh, sure it is.
Cupid, Blitzen.
Oh, those
are
all
not girl names. Those are boy names.
I think there's actually a band, an all-girl band that have all of those names. They're called the Reindeer Girls. Pretty sure of it. No, maybe not. Fruitcake has been the butt of jokes for decades. Have you ever had a fruitcake, by the way?
I have.
Did you like it?
I only tasted it just because I've always heard how awful they were. They were, and they really are.
They lived up to it
awful.
for you? I thought they were okay.
The
holiday bread's
You
reputation.
also brought home some German thing that had all. What was it? You brought home a thing from the grocery store. You're like, let's eat this, and you ate it, and you thought it was amazing. I took one
did?
bite. I was like, oh.
What was that?
I don't know
Flan?
what it.
No?
No, it wasn't flan. It was like a cake, but it had all sorts of crap stuffed in it, and you bought it at
a German store?
No, at like a grocery store.
Was it? I don't know. Let's move on. That could have been fruitcake. That sounds like
It wasn't fruitcake.
Okay, I don't know.
It was streusel.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, it could have been.
Ew.
That.
It was disgusting.
Well, fruitcake. Long story to get to this. So we're only on story number 2. We might not get much done today. Holidays bread's reputation hasn't stopped Starbucks from making a new drink called
a fruitcake coffee.
Yeah, a fruitcake frappuccino. It's available at Starbucks, they say. I've not seen that because I haven't been to a Starbucks in
I don't go
quite
to
some time.
Starbucks.
You know they're going to double? No, not double. They're going to add 50% more stores in the United States.
Oh, that's super.
In 2017.
You know why? Because they're excited their taxes are going down.
Well, here's the thing. It's because it's so darn hard to find a Starbucks. I mean, you never see those.
No, hey, their taxes are going to be going way down. They might as well double up.
There you go. Hey, Clarksville, Tennessee. A deer walked in front of a minivan in town and was hit. The deer flew off the car and hit a pedestrian. The pedestrian suffered broken bones and was taken to the hospital.
Yikes.
Holy cow. That's some interesting reindeer games that happened there. In Spain, they have a Christmas lottery.
Did you see the picture I showed you of the guy?
What?
There was a dead deer on the side of the road,
yeah.
and a guy dressed as Santa Claus just standing by the deer holding a sign that said, "Engine troubles, need ride to the North Pole."
That was funny.
That was so clever. I would totally do that.
I
If
could
I
see
had
you do
a
that.
Santa, I should just carry a Santa costume in my car.
All the time.
So I can do that.
Just in case.
Every time I see a dead deer.
All right.
That's
Coming up,
amazing.
we've got some special things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about a Christmas lottery. We've got all kinds of fun stuff and some Christmas memories. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
Radio advertising works. When it's done right, it works even better. There are many things you can do to get a better response, and shouting sale really isn't the best thing, believe it or not. Did you know that when you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable? If you're trying to get people to remember your company, consider a jingle. We work with one of the very best jingle companies in the business, and we'd love to use music to help you grow your company. Learn more and hear examples at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com.
John and Heidi.
Today, I have a special guest in the studio with me. A guest, let me get this paper here. I want to make sure I pronounce this correctly. Heidi Small, is that correct?
That is correct.
Well,
Thank
hello,
you for
Heidi.
having me.
Well, I'm glad to have you on the program. So, I see you're the co-host of the John and Heidi Show.
I am. Actually, I'm really, truth be told, I run the whole show.
Do you really?
I have a guy that I allow to come in the room with me.
Yeah.
I'll
his
let
name?
him say a few things, but only to enhance the things that I have to say.
Oh, is that how it works?
Very rarely can people remember his name.
It's funny.
It's
The funny thing is, that part is true. It's the John and Heidi Show. We'll go places. We're like, oh, you guys listen to you all the time. Heidi, I love you. What was your name again? You're
the Heidi and
Jack, Jim, Jimmy, Jeff, Zippy, Zappy. It's something like that. I'm like, it's John. Oh, yeah, John and Heidi. Now I think people are doing it just because they know others have done it and it's hilarious. So, anyway.
it makes me
here's-
very happy. Thank you for
here's the
those
good
of you
news.
who have done that because
Yeah.
it really makes my day.
And the good news is, it doesn't bother me at all. I think that's really cool that you guys love my wife because guess what? I love my wife as well.
Aw.
I do. I love you a whole bunch. Now we're going to talk about some Christmas memories because instead of having a guest visit with us on Christmas weekend here, I said we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to talk about some Christmas memories. Also because you have some really fun Christmas memories. A friend of mine who's a comedian, one of his jokes, he talked about his family that he married into. He said, my wife's family's kind of funny. I married into a family where everybody seems to be the drunk uncle. And I was like, hey,
That's my family.
And he said, family get-togethers are kind of like an AA meeting with a wet bar. So I was like, this is so
Can
much
you
like my
think of
family.
a better time?
Doesn't it sound like your family though?
Yes.
So Britton, I'm pretty sure I'm married into the same family. I have to look for you at the next family gathering. 'Cause I haven't seen you there. But let's talk about some of the things that are your favorite Christmas memories. What would you say?
Okay, well, talking about the wet bar, I remember my cousin Alan, we had, it was shortly after a Christmas movie came out.
A Christmas Carol.
Christmas Carol. And
Or Christmas Story?
Christmas Story. Neither of us know what we're talking about.
The one with the kid that wants the Red Ryder BB gun.
Yeah. And there was that part where he was dared to stick his tongue to the flagpole. Well, my cousin Alan had seen that movie, and he wanted to see if that was true. He goes outside on the front porch of my grandmother's house and sticks his tongue to
the metal railing.
The railing. And everybody's freaking out that Alan is stuck, and they're looking for water. And my dad comes out with his Schlitz.
The Schlitz beer.
Charlie, who you hear every week, and dumps it on my cousin's tongue. He's like, there you go.
Did it work?
He'll be fine. Yeah, it worked. He came right off. It was good.
He's fine. Walk it off. Now, when I married into the family, because we've been married 17 years.
Yeah, that's
coming up
crazy.
Here. I can't believe that. I mean, one of these days I'm going to know your birthday and like your middle name.
That'd be super.
One of these days I'll have all that figured out.
That'd be good.
No, I know all of that stuff. In all seriousness, though, I remember my first Christmas at your family, with your family, at your grandma and grandpa's house, because we started dating right before Christmas.
Yeah.
So,
September. So
we started dating, and you know, they didn't know for sure if this was going to work out or not. So all of a sudden, it's Christmas time, and I'm at the house, and your grandpa and your grandmother are such wonderful people, and they're gone now, and I miss them dearly. I can still hear her laugh.
Me too.
And I can still hear his laugh.
Yeah.
And it just meant so much to me because everybody was opening presents. And I saw Grandma go over to Grandpa, and she's like, hey, you know, he doesn't have anything because we didn't know he was coming. So she asked him, would it be okay if I gave him these? And it was some gloves. Your grandmother had bought your grandpa some gloves. So she gave me Grandpa's gloves.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I don't know that I knew that.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you. You're crying.
Well, I just thought it was so sweet. So it was, wasn't it?
Well, that's just them. They were amazing people. Amazing people.
You know,
I miss them so much.
Oh, I do too. And it hasn't been the same since I've been gone, has it?
No, not even a little.
So if you're spending time with family and friends, think about what even some tiny, insignificant little thing like that. Because I didn't need anything. You know, I wasn't saying, hey, where's my stuff? You know, I understood, hey, we just started dating. You guys didn't need to get me anything. And I told her, no, you don't need to do that. But she insisted. And I remember pulling out this little pair of gloves that were, you know, kind of designed for an older man. Yeah. I was like, oh, I've always wanted old man gloves. And your grandpa's over there like, oh, I'm going to have to get some different gloves. No, it was so cool. And I just remember thinking, what a wonderful family to do something like that for some stranger that just showed up.
Yeah,
so
they're amazing.
They're listening in heaven right now, and I guarantee they're proud of you, Heidi. Guarantee they are.
I think so.
Yeah, they would have loved this. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show Christmas Special. Coming up, we've got more fun stuff on the way, and we've got some fun facts coming your way next.
John and Heidi.
When is the last time you changed the air filter on your furnace? Now, don't be embarrassed. That happens to a bunch of us. The furnace filter should be changed often. This will help your heating and cooling system run more efficiently, and it'll even extend the life of your system. Now, there's an easy way to make it happen. Filter Easy, a new subscription service that delivers your size filter right to your door on the schedule you choose. It's easy. Filter Easy. One less thing to worry about. Learn about a special offer available now at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The title of the first Chipmunks Christmas song was simply the Chipmunk Song.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was the first one. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The song Silver Bells.
Yes.
That was written by the same dude that wrote the theme song to Mr. Ed. Jay Livingston and Ray Evans.
Oh,
Yeah.
Was it sung by the same guy originally?
I don't know if it was or not. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
In the state of Oregon, you can find Humbug Mountain, Humbug Creek, and Humbug Point.
Huh.
Speaking of Oregon, they produce more Christmas trees than any other state. You wouldn't think they'd have all that humbug going
why
on,
would they be
ya?
all grumpy?
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably because all those people stealing their trees and taking them out of state, and they're like, humbug. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Before settling on the name Tiny Tim for his character in A Christmas Carol, Charles Dickens originally had a different name. What do you think it was?
I don't know, Big Willie?
No. Big Willie. No, Tiny Tim was almost Punny Pete. That was the first one.
Oh, that is stupid.
Another one would have been Little Larry or Small Sam. Those were the three that he was working on.
Stupid.
Instead, he went with Tiny Tim, and the world thanked him. I can't imagine any of those other ones. All right, coming up here in a bit, we've got more fun stuff. A couple of fun facts for you right there on the Christmas Special from the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This is Richard Richard Lustig, the world's first and only 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Since I endorsed Lottolicious, I have won something every single draw. They do all the work. You don't have to worry about running to the store to buy your tickets. They take care of all that. So if you're looking for the best way to play the lottery, to give yourself the best chance of winning, go to RadioLottoPool.com and join today. Again, that website is RadioLottoPool.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on this Christmas weekend, and it's kind of our Christmas special.
I suppose.
So, it's just kind of a special
You can call
thing.
it special.
I think it's special because I'm here with my sweetheart, my best friend, my wife, my co-host, my everything. So we got all that going. Your presence is presence enough, baby. So when we open presents later, you can remind me of that. You're like, yeah, remember when you said your presence is presence enough? That's why you didn't get nothing. Spain's annual Christmas lottery. Have you ever heard of this? I didn't even know this was a thing, but we should be buying tickets in this thing. It's called El Gordo, means the fat one, because of the huge amount of money that's given out in prizes. How huge, you might ask? Go ahead.
How huge is it?
I thought you might ask. El Gordo, the Spanish Christmas lottery, is so big that in 2015, last year, the 2015 Gordo lottery had over $2 billion given out. $2 billion.
$2 billion or like 2 billion pesos, which is like $1.28.
I don't I don't know what and it doesn't say. So, but in Spain, would they be pesos? So let's check right now. I'll just I'm going to ask Google because here's the thing. I'm not. I know you guys think I know everything, but I don't know everything. How much is 2 billion Spanish pesos? Whoa, what is that? My phone. Oh, Merry Christmas to you. How much is 2 billion pesos in American dollars? See, I'm going to ask more.
2 billion Mexican pesos equals 96,346,100
Oh, that's still a good
United
payday.
States dollars.
See, there you go. 96 million according to, that's not Siri. Whoever mine is just
El Gordo.
El Gordo. That's a good chunk
That's
of
a
change.
nickname I have for you.
El Gordo.
In the bedroom.
Would you just leave me alone? El Gordo literally means the fat one.
The
so you're
fat
gonna call me
one.
the fat one? Like, hey.
No, I'm not. Not you.
Would you just stop it? All right. That's way too much information. So there you go. If I doesn't say anywhere on here how I can buy a ticket, but man, next year we're going to get a ticket for the El Gordo lottery. $2 billion. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This is my favorite time of year. The lights, the fun parties, and the family get-togethers. Many of us have boxes of home videos capturing these memories. But sadly, these memories are fading away because the videotape was not the best format. My friend CJ has a business called Tape It Up Reproductions. They transfer your precious memories to a digital format with the option to enhance the audio and the video to make them look and sound better than ever. His website is tapingitup.com, or you can call or text 412-766-1679.
John and Heidi.
For those of you planning on giving a gift card, whether you already gave one or if you're going to give one, a consumer advocate group says you better be careful. Millions of dollars are wasted on gift cards every year that are not used before they expire. As many as 1 in 3 gift card recipients fail to cash it in before the time runs out.
That's insane.
That is insane.
I use my gift cards.
Do you?
Yeah, like the next day. Like as soon as I get it, I'm like, I'm going shopping.
All right, you guys go ahead and finish unwrapping gifts without me. I got some stuff to do. So, I can't think.
I don't get that. I don't know
know
why
either.
you would just let money go
Can't think
away.
of why you wouldn't want to use a gift card. My
Yeah.
grandmother has done that, but I think it's because she kind of forgot she had them. Because my mother told me, she was like, don't get her gift cards, because if you get them, then they don't ever get used. So I think there are some people that maybe just forget they have them. That could be part of it. But
Or
1 in
especially
3?
older people, they're not comfortable with anything other than cash, really. If you get to a certain age, they don't like to use debit cards.
I love how you generalize. You're like, oh, those old people, they don't like anything but
No,
money.
I mean, really, at a certain age, they never used.
And what age is that, Heidi?
I don't know the age. I'm just saying,
Wrap it up.
older generations, they didn't have debit cards and crap. Everything was done with cash.
There you go.
Everything that they did.
And barter. They would trade, chickens and stuff.
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay.
But they had checks.
Okay.
And they had cash, just like we did when we were kids. And we're not that old. We had checks and we had cash. We didn't have debit cards.
The one thing you got right there is that we're not that old. Thank goodness. So
I'm just saying I can relate because I don't necessarily like that there's no more money or checks.
I know there are places where they don't do cash. It has to be debit cards.
And they don't accept checks.
I know. Crazy stuff.
Yeah. So I can
when I
understand
was a
how some
kid.
people are not comfortable with
Yeah, I can see that.
with gift cards.
Awesome. Coming up, we got more stuff on the John and Heidi Show Christmas special. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show Christmas weekend edition. You ready for some riddles, Heidi?
Sure, but first I think we need to make a disclaimer.
What's that?
I think our listeners need to know that you choose what our listeners do and do
Yes.
not get to hear
That's right.
the things that I say.
I'm what is that called where you
You're what, a Nazi?
No,
Are you a
what's that thing,
Nazi?
though, where I block them from all
You're
the
an
bad
audio
stuff.
Nazi.
No.
I didn't say anything bad.
The explicit comments of Heidi Small don't make it to the radio. Otherwise, we have to say the views expressed by Heidi Small on the John and Heidi Show.
So go ahead and say
do
it.
not necessarily express the views of
Of this station.
a normal person. So
I just think it's a bunch of garbage
Yeah.
that my comments
yeah,
are
being-
withheld from the American people.
Yeah, so
I think they have a right to know.
cutting Heidi off. And, what do you call it? Censoring what she says. That was the word. Censoring. Well, the good news is we got some good news to get to, and we're going to get
Communist.
some Christmas riddles. Hey, this is the time of year for the red and the green, so, what can I say? We've got some Christmas riddles from kiddos coming your way.
John and Heidi.
This time of year, we celebrate with family and friends.
And sometimes that involves drinking.
If you're going to be celebrating, please have a designated driver.
I lost my cousins to a drunk driver. They were only 8 and 12 years old.
Their lives were cut short because the driver was drunk and made a terrible choice.
Make good choices. Have a designated driver.
If you or a loved one has a problem with drugs or alcohol, now may be a great time for the gift of sobriety.
You can call Keystone Treatment Center at 844-204-1055.
That's toll-free, 844-204-1055.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. It's the Christmas edition right now, our Christmas weekend edition. And I've got some kids' Christmas riddles. I think this is kind of cool. How many reindeer does it take to change a light bulb, Heidi?
A light bulb.
A light bulb.
Are you on the Pink Panther?
I think so.
Peter Sellers?
How many reindeer does it take to change a light bulb, Heidi?
I have no idea.
Well, just guess. How many do you think?
2.
No. Why wouldn't you have guessed 8?
I'm sorry. 8.
Says that's much better. 8. Thank you. That seems so natural as well. How many reindeer does it take to change a light bulb? The answer is 8, according to a child. 1 to screw in the light bulb and 7 to hold Rudolph down. I think they're putting him on his nose. I think it's because it's his nose. I have no idea. All right. These are from kids, and they're funny. How does Rudolph know when Christmas is coming?
How?
He looks at his calendar. Yeah, meanwhile, I'm censoring what she says.
Yeah, these are not the kind of jokes I heard when I was a youngster from my grandparents.
What do you give a reindeer with an upset tummy?
What's that?
An Alka-Seltzer.
Ah.
Gold, Heidi. These are gold. And our final one here. I know what you're thinking. Thank goodness. What is the first thing elves learn in school?
What?
The alphabet. All right, let's move on to something else because that was not so hot.
was amazing.
Oh, it was not so good.
I should be censoring you.
You should. You should have censored that
Save
whole break.
people from your ridiculousness.
You should have censored that entire break.
This is why people don't remember you, by the
I
way.
know, they're like that annoying guy and Heidi. So people are getting Christmas cards. Folks in England are now claiming they have the world's fastest Christmas card. Unofficially, postal workers believe a record was set for the quickest delivery within 74 hours of being posted 10,500 miles away in Australia. The card was postmarked in Sydney at 6 p.m. December 4th and was at the home of Nigel Cloudwell in England at 10 a.m. December 6th. Holy cow, that is fast. How quick is that? Taking into account the 10-hour time difference between the countries, the card achieved a speed of over 140 miles per hour for the journey. That's one fast card. So, Merry Christmas to you all down there in the Down Under in Australia, and all you folks there in England as well. That's pretty darn cool. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap this program up with some good news, and I think this is good news, and it's kind of Christmassy good news.
All right.
I like Christmassy good news.
I do too.
We had some really cool Christmassy good news the other day. You had shared a video. It's on our Facebook page, by the way. Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show, of a young man getting some shoes.
Yeah.
That was really cool. That was really, really cool. But it says here, Jesus' birthplace in the town of Bethlehem, believed to be located at the Church of the Nativity, has been captured in a new 360-degree virtual tour video. So this is really cool because there are people who want to go check this out. They can't make the trip. Well, now you can make the trip with a click of your finger on a mouse. I mean, like a computer mouse. It allows millions of believers around the world to see where Christ is said to have been born. According to the Christian Post, Perry Tao, the director of the video, says, 360 lets the viewer explore at their own pace, take the time to really absorb what it would be like being there. He says it's the closest thing to experiencing the Holy Land, short of, being there yourself.
Huh.
And I've got a link to this on our Facebook page. So for those of you who, on this Christmas weekend are saying, hey, I'd really kind of like to do something special, maybe that's the thing you do. Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. All right, it's almost time to say goodbye. But before we do that, we got to do our annual Christmas gift exchange. And I brought you something really... Well, you didn't do that? You didn't...
He didn't get me anything.
You're right, I didn't. I got you something, but I don't have you anything in this room. I was going to do that to, catch you off guard and see what you'd do. But knowing my luck, you'd actually have something over there. Because you're good. I got to say this.
You've got 8 gifts under that tree. All kinds of stuff.
I got to say this.
And you got me one thing, the one thing that I told you to get me.
No, I got
I flat out said, I need this.
One thing you know about.
I even gave you money to buy me a Christmas present. And you didn't, you still didn't get me
You have
Christmas
no clue.
gifts.
How do you know what you got?
I know.
You have no clue.
I know.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
All right. Merry Christmas, Heidi. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show Christmas Weekend Special.